Transitioning from an Amazon FBA seller to now running AMZ Prep, I've learned a lot of the ins and outs. I want to show you and talk to you guys about some of the lessons I've learned over the years. So the first thing that I do recommend is really figuring out how your Amazon PPC works. And I broke it down to 4 major requirements. Number 1 is that what words should you be advertising on? And there's tons of great content going around, but what words are profitable, which ones are too expensive, and what's the actual cost per click for any of these keywords that you're actually advertising on? Knowing that is so critical. Number 2 is how to properly index your keywords. There's a lot of different strategies, especially with the first 15, 20 days when you're getting listed on Amazon. These are super important. The third part is about your difference between organic sales versus your advertising sales. And there's a lot of mix between what are you organically getting when you're acquiring a new customer versus which ones are actually paying for. And this will really determine your bottom line when you're selling on Amazon. The fourth part is what's the healthy ratio there? So between the organic and the advertising sales, how do you find that perfect blend so that you're still profitable, but continuing to grow your Amazon FBA business? One of the second things that I wish I knew was understanding organic traffic at really its most fundamental layers. The idea of how to properly rank your products and the keywords over time. So understanding what keywords to rank for, how to properly index them, how to rank utilizing SEO, and also how important are the keywords on the front end versus the back end. And if search terms are more popular, or if your A+ content can have keywords inside of it. These are all keys that when you're trying to understand your SEO and keyword strategy, make sure you really have the fundamentals down before anything else. Number 3 is the importance of your product photography. This is the first thing that your customers see when they search up your product on Amazon. One of the big lessons that I've seen sellers to really know good from great is that you're not using these photos to sell to your customers, you're using them to sell to an Amazon customer, which is a lot different. So the images that you feel might work on your website or on Instagram aren't gonna be the same for Amazon, and that's okay. The goal here is that you're building images to help Amazon's algorithm, help optimize your conversion rate, and really captivate the customer, because majority of that customer searches will happen on the images. So figuring out the best product photography really makes all the difference. Number 4 is IPI Score. Really, in its full summary, the IPI Score is your credit score with Amazon. It will determine how much stock you can send to Amazon, what your overall limitations will be in terms of storage limits and inventory capacity, and it will make or break your Amazon business. Understand the complexity of an IPI and what goes into an account health status, and because of that, it will allow you to properly forecast inventory, how to maximize your strategy to help increase your IPI score. Use it, read it like the Bible, and I promise you it will pay tenfold really once you start to scale up to figure out how the IPI is calculated and formulated to help you grow. Number 5 is properly planning your inventory strategy. There's a lot of calculations that go into how to properly plan your inventory, but some of the key fundamentals and rule number 1 is just don't go out of stock. This will have impact on your indexing, and it will set you back 5 steps just because your fulfillment partner couldn't ship the products in time. Just making sure that you have someone dedicated to figure out how to properly do inventory forecasting. Utilize this strategy before going into a platform. Understand the fundamentals before anything else. And this will allow you to better scale your company by knowing all the fundamentals when it comes to the back-end logistics of your Amazon FBA business. Number 6 is SEO, which is search engine optimization. There's a lot of factors that go into it, and it's one of the most underutilized areas of your Amazon business. The ability to really figure out and coordinate what keywords you're ranking for, which ones are you indexing for, and where inside of your listing are you able to implement more keywords. There's a lot of technicalities in terms of adding keywords to your A+ content and all the places in the back end, such as search terms or premium back-end keywords that you can utilize to help you index for these keywords. It's a very technical matter, but if you can understand the language of SEO, you can understand the language of Amazon's algorithm, which unlocks the key to success of Amazon. Number 7 is the importance of systems and SOPs. A lot of small businesses as they grow really don't focus on the documentation. So these are traditionally founders who are trying to take on the entire world, and because of this, struggle to scale and can't figure out why they don't have any time in the day because they don't have the proper systems in place or the right resources. What I recommend for every company is that you should have every single system and every single procedure documented, and have a goal of every single day to document one individual SOP. Your ability to do this means that over a month you'll have 30, and that these are things that you can look back and start to delegate accordingly. Without documentation, there's no training, and without training, you can't grow. So use these SOPs to your advantage. Start with a Word document and then build your way to a global organization and 100 employees. Just one step at a time. Number 8 is, how do you properly calculate the profit on your product? We see Amazon sellers trying to optimize their overall revenue, but they're missing some key components to really understanding their total cost. So a seller will look at their advertising and basically measure whether or not they're profitable, but they're missing some key factors in their calculation. Traditionally, they're not accounting for their shipping to Amazon. They're not accounting for the warehouse that they're using for storage or the prep and pack, the external shipping lanes or the resources you're personally using, such as a printer or the office space. These are all these non-direct factors of cost that sellers don't traditionally add into their Amazon fees, but need to really understand your true profitability. My key recommendation is, before you really start putting money towards advertising, just understand your true cost. It will allow you to make better decisions more effectively and allow you to scale with full ease of mind, knowing that you know every dollar and every day what is going in and out of your bank accounts and whether or not you have a sustainable business model in place. Number 9 is this whole idea of the set it and forget it business model. There's no such thing in this Amazon world, and as every seller knows, this whole passive idea, you have to build it to allow it to grow and flourish. Is there ways to optimize it so it's a bit more hands-off? Absolutely. But really what a lot of sellers do way too early on is they launch their advertising campaigns, they replenish their orders, and they just let it run. There's a lot of things that you can work on in the background to really help improve the overall strategy, whether it's A/B testing new ideas, whether it's building social media channels, or just trying to find new creative ways to launch new products. If you want to grow a company past 7 figures or 8 figures in revenue, you need to have these systems in place to really help you grow. Number 10 is the major differences in costs when we're looking at Amazon Canada and Amazon USA. A lot of sellers may just utilize one fulfillment hub versus the other, but the brands that we recommend, they actually utilize a Canadian hub and a US hub. This allows you to be Amazon Prime enabled in both countries. Depending on where you're shipping in Canada or the USA, your pallet shipping might be different, your small parcel delivery might change. These are all different factors that can go into play when you're looking at your shipping. Also, think about Canada. It's a vast wide network. So if you're shipping from here to Nova Scotia or Vancouver, the cost is gonna be more expensive because the population is so unique and it's such a vast landscape. Versus in the US, the state-by-state strategy can allow you a bit more effective shipping in terms of how you formulate your logistics strategy. It's a bit more technical, but knowing these allows you to coordinate your 3PL strategy accordingly. Number 11, which is my favorite topic, is NARF fulfillment, which is North American Remote Fulfillment. So what NARF is that if you're selling on Amazon.com and you wanna sell your products or offer them to Canadian sellers, what you're able to do is click on the NARF fulfillment program with your Amazon US listings, and this will technically allow you to list your products on Amazon.ca. But there's a few caveats here. The first issue is that as a Canadian customer, the experience isn't great. It usually comes with imports and duties. The shipping time to me as a Canadian customer is usually 8 to 15 business days. And of course, on top of that, the conversion rate is poor because it almost looks like a merchant fulfillment item. All of these things also contribute to the fact that with NARF fulfillment, you're utilizing one fulfillment hub for all your inventory. So when you expand to actually use a Canadian fulfillment hub, this allows you to diversify your inventory, offer your products to customers in 1 to 2 days, and allow you to just overall have a more strategic review of your .com versus your .ca. In an ideal world, you want to send your product to a Canadian Amazon FBA fulfillment hub so that you can run ads, you can have an optimal conversion rate, and you do the same in the US. The last thing I wanted to mention about the whole NARF fulfillment is that if you are running ads here in Canada while using NARF fulfillment, your conversion rate is going to be extremely poor because the overall look and feel for the customer just isn't a great experience. Picture a Canadian customer that wants to order, but it's gonna come here in 15 days. the likelihood of them purchasing is gonna be low. So keep this in mind because it will overall impact your organic ranking, your overall Canadian strategy, and won't give you a proper holistic overview of what the Canadian market looks like. You're misqualifying it is the best way to say it. So that wraps up my 11 major learnings that I wish I knew when I was starting my Amazon FBA business and also growing my Amazon FBA business. If you guys have questions, please comment, like, share. We're gonna be doing a ton more of these. And also these 11 tips, we're gonna go into detail and it's gonna get very, very technical. So stay tuned, listen up, and we'll be seeing you soon. See ya.